Hi, welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. 888-589-8840, number to call. Kathleen Sebelius, the program is Focal Point. The network is AFR Talk, the American Family Radio Talk Network, the most feared and dangerous radio network in America. Now, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, we're going to play a Kathleen Sebelius clip from her appearance before a Senate committee this morning. But Debbie Wasserman Schultz was on MSNBC yesterday, and this will just crack you up. This will absolutely crack you up because I got to set this up for you because apparently she's trying to defend Obamacare, and apparently she's got some kind of a teleprompter there that has the word misled on it. Now, I want you to think about that word. I want you to look at that word. Because here is Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and she's reading the teleprompter with the word misled on it, only this is what she thinks the word is. This is absolutely hilarious. Let's listen.
At the end of the day, Americans were not only not misled by the president, the overwhelming majority of Americans
Let's stop right there.
Already.
We'll play the whole soundbite. But she saw the word misled, and she didn't realize it was the word misled. And she thought it was the word misled, which is not even a word. So she said misled, M-I-S-L-E-D. That she doesn't even know apparently what it means, but she's going to faithfully read off the teleprompter, just like President Obama referred to the corpseman on more than one occasion, just reading off the teleprompter. So it's amazing to me because she's on MSNBC, but apparently she's got a teleprompter with the word misled on it, and she misreads it and pronounces it misled. Let's listen to the whole soundbite. Hit it again.
At the end of the day, Americans were not only not misled by the president, the overwhelming majority of Americans are already insured. And what we're talking about here is insurance companies who chose not to keep the plan that they could have grandfathered, and they chose to change the plan that they were making available to people that they already insured in the individual market. At the end of the day, most of those people who are having their plans transitioned will have better benefits for lower cost. All they have to do is go on the exchange and shop around, which arguably needs to be easier than it is now, and they will be able to actually get better coverage for less. So no, there was nothing about what President Obama or that I or any other Democrat supporting the Affordable Care Act said that was not true.
So she said the American people have not been misled. We haven't been misled. Nobody has lied to us. Everything that's been told us, including if you like your plan, you can keep it. All of that was true. Nothing that anybody has said is untrue. And again, the meme now out there is to blame the insurance companies, and realize the insurance companies are not to blame here because they didn't have a choice. They were compelled to make changes in their insurance policies to meet the imposed standards of Obamacare. There's 10 of them. I've got a story in the stack that only 2% of all of the health insurance policies that exist in America today are compliant with the Obamacare standards. 2%. That means 98% of the health insurance policies in America either have to be scrapped or they have to be changed, and those that have those policies have to pay more money. The reason they're not in compliance is President Obama is ordering them under penalty of business death to include these treatments and coverages in their insurance policy if they want to sell an insurance policy to anybody. So there's no choice here. She used the word chose, and she emphasized that insurance companies chose not to keep the plan. No, it wasn't their choice. They were compelled to do it. It was mandated. They chose to change the plan. No, they didn't. They were compelled to change it. 83 to 90% of the American people were satisfied with their insurance. It didn't have all these things. I mean, look, I'm 62. If Debbie and I are going to go buy an insurance plan, we're not going to pay for maternity care. We're past that stage in life. We're not going to pay for substance abuse treatment. We don't need it. We never have. We never will. We're not going to pay for mental health treatment. Never needed it. We're not going to. Don't plan to. Don't need to pay for that kind of coverage. We're not going to pay for pediatric dental and pediatric vision. You got to pay for that under Obamacare. So there's no choice whatsoever in the matter here. And she says, look, people are going to get better coverage for less money. Now, two things about that. Number one, they're not going to get it for less money. I got a story in the stack from yesterday, didn't get to it, but somebody had done a comprehensive study of all of the plans in all 49 states. They left Hawaii out of the mix. But in 41 of the 49 states, insurance premiums are going to go up by an average of, I believe it was 45%. It was somewhere in the 40% range. That's the average increase in premiums is 45%. It's going to go up. So Debbie Wasserman Schultz here is simply not telling the truth. What she's trying to do, ladies and gentlemen, is she is trying to mizle us. She's trying to deceive us. She's trying to fool us into thinking that people are going to get better coverage for less. Now, let me ask the other question here. One other question about this that's significant. She says they're going to get better coverage. Now, this gets to the root of the whole problem with socialism and with big government. Who gets to decide what better is? Now, see, the people that bought these policies, they were fine with these policies. You know, I had a policy that Debbie and I did in Idaho that would be completely substandard according to any rubric that the Obama administration would use. It had none of this on it. The only thing it had on our policy was catastrophic coverage in case we had a major event, major surgery, cancer, fall off your scooter and break your hip, something like that. We had coverage for major events. It was a catastrophic plan. We didn't have coverage for anything other than that. Nothing. Zip. So we were out of pocket for everything we spent for medical care up to $7,500. That's what we chose. That's the way I set it up. And then we saved enough money on the premiums that we were able to put the differential into a health savings account, an HSA, and we still have a lot of money in that thing. I paid for my new eyeglasses using the health savings account that I accumulated in 2008. 2005 to 2009, still got money in there that we have a need because we don't go to the doctor except on rare occasions. So I had a completely, totally substandard policy according to President Obama, but it was perfect for us. In my judgment, it was better. Now, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, she wants to mizle you into thinking that the government should have the right to decide what a better plan is and force you to buy it, even if you're happy with the one you have. And that's socialism right there in a nutshell, where the anointed decide what is best for you. They make all these important decisions for you, and then they impose those decisions on you against your will. That is what's so reprehensible about this entire Obamacare thing. One more clip, and then we'll grab a couple of phone calls. This is Kathleen Sebelius, clip 12, Rob. Kathleen Sebelius testifying this morning before the Senate. Remember, we've talked about this before, these navigators and what qualifications they have to meet in order to be a navigator. Listen to this exchange between her, and I believe this is Max Baucus. This is the train wreck guy. I might have the wrong guy here, but let's listen to Sebelius on this one.
So I want to ask you about the navigators.
John Kyle.
In Dallas, Texas today, touting the Navigator program, which, as you know, are people who are hired to help people navigate the Affordable Care Act. But I would just like to ask you this question, if you would answer it. Isn't it true that there is no federal requirement for navigators to undergo a criminal background check, even though they will receive sensitive personal information from the individuals they help sign up for the Affordable Care Act?
That is true. States could add an additional background checks and other features, but it is not part of the federal requirement.
So a convicted felon could be a navigator and could acquire sensitive personal information from an individual unbeknownst to them.
That is possible. We have contracts with the organizations, and they have taken the responsibility to screen their navigators and make sure that they are sufficiently trained for the job. And there's a self-attestation, but it is possible.
So Kathleen Sebelius, she gets asked by Senator John Kyle, is it possible that a felon could become a navigator and be given all of this very private, confidential information? And she said, yeah, it's possible. We don't have any background checks, no criminal background checks, none of that. And remember, these navigators are getting your social security number. They may be getting IRS information. They may be getting bank account information. They're getting addresses. They're getting all sorts of confidential personal information from you. And Kathleen Jabita says, we got no way to keep criminals, felons, from being navigators and getting access to your information. So that is the wonders of Obamacare. That is that floating island of debris that's made landfall now in America. Well, let's go to the phones. Let's go to Scotty, Newkirk, Oklahoma. Scotty, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Scotty, welcome.
And Scotty, let me have you turn your radio down so we're...
Yes, sir, I just did.
All right, great. Thank you.
Man, you're awesome.
Well, thank you. That's the nicest thing anybody said to me all day.
You remember back when we was younger, the Super Friends, the early morning cartoon?
Yeah,
Superman. Okay, that's AFR. Each one of you guys have your individual powers, and you're the flatliner.
The flatliner. I don't remember who the flatliner was.
No, I made it up just now. Because you go through the line, and throughout the 2 years that I've been listening to you, it's like you just sit right beside me and say, hey, it's like you know my life. Once a week you say something that really hits me hard, and I'm like, conviction. So Father does use you in magnificent ways.
Well, that's great to hear. And, there is something about the radio format, the way that, a listening audience can connect with a host and a host with it's really a pretty special thing. And there's no other kind of format that allows you to make that kind of connection with people that you have. If somebody's listening to you in the car, I mean, they're just right there. They're just, they're just inches from your voice. And so there's kind of a connection that can be made there. Anyway, did you have something else? I only got about 45 seconds, Scotty. Anything else you wanted to add?
Okay. What I wanted to say was, man, I had my train of thought. Okay. I always try to pray before I get a hold of you guys. I don't have a computer. The only way I can get a hold of you is on the phone. But on the Obama thing, do you think that it's possible that, how the devil used deceptions, that the border patrol and all this thing, that could it be possible that he knows that he's not going to be president, when his term's up, that he may want to be going to the Middle East and be a dictator, and the way that we're running all the Democrats, he would have allies.
Well, let me talk about that, Scotty, when we get back. Focal Point AFR Talk. Hard break. Be right back.